discuss why this happened and what can be done to stop similar attacks in the future. Let's go to London, where I'm joined by Sultan Mahmood Sharif. He's the president of the UK chapter of Bangladesh's ruling Awami League. And in Dhaka is Khushi Kabir. She's a human rights activist, feminist, and environmentalist. Good to have you both on the program. Khushi Kabir, let me start with you. For those who would see this as an isolated incident, tell me why you think they're wrong.
For a number of reasons. This is not the first time that such a thing has happened at the Bangladesh University for Engineering and Technology. It's been known that there have been this cell where people have been picked up and tried to be given a lesson by beating them up. There have been other killings in the country where no actual, it seems like there's an impunity if you belong to the party in power, whichever the party may be. The process of the system takes so long, and the police reports, etc., are much longer. Fahad's killing actually sparked off the kind of protest, the kind of anger, the frustrations that people were facing, and they felt that they needed to vent it out. That this was this young boy, a simple thing as writing on his Facebook post certain questions that is in the minds of most people, a lot of people who think. Everybody does not, it's not a monolithical way of thinking. I mean, democracy means that you can ask questions. Democracy means that you raise issues. Democracy means, and he's not such a leader that he has such a huge fan following. Right. And even if he did, nothing justifies the brutality of that killing. The way they went on for hours, I think this has spread all across the country, not only among students. The students are in the lead, definitely. Right. But every single person in this country is absolutely horrified, shocked, and we feel that it is time that the party in power starts looking at themselves and their cadres, the student league is not supposed to be a part of the party.
Right. Okay.
But everybody knows the student league is the one who do all the thuggery, and they try and create that mass base.
Okay. So let me ask Sultan. Okay. Certainly, ma'am. And forgive me for interrupting, but Sultan Mahmood Sharif, has the ruling party created this atmosphere where you can have a student mob thinking they can be protected by the state because of their association with the ruling party, and they can go and torture someone and kill them and think they can get away with it?
Before I answer your question, I pay homage to the departed soul of this young man who has been definitely brutally murdered by thugs who claim to have belonged to one of the our student organization, but we condemn it wholeheartedly. I express my sincere condolences to the family of this person, not only the family, but the entire people who have, like me, been very hurt by this incident. And my expression goes deep. I am at one with the Prime Minister of the country, who has expressed her abhorrence at this killing and expressed that he was her own son, and she would do everything to see the perpetrators are punished. From the highest person of the country, such assurance would help us to stop further incidents of this nature. But instead of going into the long story of how people in our sort of countries, ordinary people, are being subjected to thugs' attack.
Okay, but certainly, but again, I ask you, has the government created, because we heard from Khushi Kabir that no matter who the ruling party is, you seem to have these student movements that represent them and get away with violence and impunity because they have the power. So let me ask you again then, sir, and your condemnation of the killing is noted. Again, has the ruling party created an atmosphere where you can post something on Facebook and be killed for it because the people
No,
who killed you are associated with the ruling party.
The ruling party has not created, this is the ruling party which has allowed 26 television channels to come during their time. Hundreds and hundreds of newspapers, publicities are going on, and in this present environment of internet facilities, Facebook and all other, people are allowed to speak of their mind. They may be even misinformed, but that doesn't mean that anybody who has an opinion different from any other person would be taken into task physically. There are laws in the country. We have a constitution which we re-established during Sheikh Hasina's ruling time.
And that's good to hear from you, sir.
According to that, everybody should be punished for his crime, and the law enforcement agency has a duty to abide by the constitution.
Okay, so Khushi Kabir, is that satisfactory to you? Are you encouraged by what you're hearing from Sultan Mahmud Sharif?
No, not totally. When you said movement, I just correct you by saying this is not a movement. This is a group of thugs who feel that they can go and do what they wish to do. Movements are when people spontaneously get onto the streets for a cause. So I just want to make that separation. What is happening is very often these are the people who are in very close cohort with the police too. And because they're in such close cohort with the police and with some of the leaders of the ruling party, and as I said before, it may be any party which is in power. So they feel they can get away with it. They can get away with murder, literally. They have got away with murder in the past. And there has been a lot of human rights violations. I'm not saying Bangladesh has not improved and gone up the ladder in many social and economic areas, but we as citizens of this country, living in this country, want our freedom of speech. We want our security and our mobility and the ability to express our opinion. That's democracy.
Ma'am, given that 13 leaders of the sorry to interrupt you, given that 13 leaders of the Chatra League associated with that university and the group of thugs, as you mentioned it, given that they were arrested, would that have happened if there wasn't this mass movement of people on the streets in protest after the killing?
This would not have happened if there wasn't this movement, and this would not have happened if the Prime Minister herself had not made a clear statement. Why should a party have to depend on one person who gives the nod that whether you arrest these people or you don't? A party should be running on its own, a government should be running on its own. There are systems which makes it happen. Yes, it is because of the movement and it's enormous everywhere. It's terrible that the authorities of the university did not feel it necessary to come out until 2 or 3 days till the students really demanded and pushed for the vice chancellor and the proctor to come out. So it just shows that it's only when the prime minister comes and says, I condone it, I condemn it, and these people have to be arrested, that's when the whole party starts moving. That's when the government starts moving.
So Sultan Mahmud Sharif, it's only when Sheikh Hasina comes out and condemns what these people did that something actually happens.
I quote Sheikh Hasina on this issue when she said that she is like all of us who are right-thinking, honest, sincere, pro-people, and working for the people day and night. She said that as one of those who all the time are in support of the people, standing by the people, she came up and expressed her opinion. The administration, the law enforcement authorities, the other people who are associated with stopping these crimes, they were active from the beginning. If they failed, it is their failure. But the Prime Minister has a duty, and she has observed her duty correctly when she has gathered everybody to stop this, not only here. During her period of as Prime Minister of the country, she has proved that every crime that was committed, that came to her knowledge or that came to the knowledge of the law enforcement authorities, have been dealt with. And we have always given due process its full course, so that, and the people's movement, one point about people's movement, it's a very good thing. People must, in a country which became independent by giving 33 million people's blood, that country has to that its people must act against this sort of attacks wherever and whenever it is necessary.
Okay, so you endorse the protesters. Khushi Kabir, you were shaking your head in disagreement. Tell me why.
Because there have been one after the other incidents. There have been rapes against people, gang rapes against people, young women, young boys. I haven't seen the justice really being done. The justice has been done in certain cases, definitely. It's not that every single case has met with impunity, but the majority of the cases have met with impunity. And the fact that and I work in the rural areas, I work with people, and I have seen that I call them thugs, because I think the ruling party allows these thugs to control them, because they are the ones who bring in the masses, they bring in the money. Recent issue of all this kind of money-making rackets that were illegally done by all these these so-called leaders of the front organizations. All these show that there is something within the party that is not quite right. There's no sort of discipline within the party through which disciplinary action can take place.
Ma'am,
and I say this.
I want to ask
certain.
Right. I want to ask you something a bit broader, and this will be my final question to you. This is not the first time we've covered something on this show related to a Bangladeshi posting something on Facebook and ending up dead, right? So atheist bloggers, for example, a couple of years ago, a couple of them were hacked to death. Is there something deeper at play here where, yes, there's freedom of speech, but freedom after speech is questionable because a mob might get you, whichever way you stand, whether it's on religious issues or political issues?
Exactly. It's been bloggers. It's been people who've claimed themselves as atheists. It's been people who've just published articles by people who've been free thinkers, and they have been killed. There have been women. I mean, I'm stating again and again, women who've been raped and killed in moving buses. It seems there is a problem. There's a weakness in the system that allows such a thing to happen. And no matter how much we protest, it's only when we're taken to the streets in mass numbers that so much actions, we can see that happen. But if it's like only 100 of us or 200 of us on the street, nothing happens at all. So it's not the first time that somebody's been killed. Some young boy who just did not even write. I mean, it did happen in a lot of places, which has been religiously used against the religious minorities.
I see.
Those have happened too.
Right.
So yes, what you said is very correct, but I think I would blame the authorities for not keeping track and being clear about what their role is in maintaining people's lives, their security, and law and order.
Okay, and we're going to follow the protest movement, and we're going to follow up on this story, and looking forward to talking to both of you sometime soon. It's been good to have both perspectives here, Sultan Mahmood Sharif and Khushi Kabir. Thank you very much for joining us on The Newsmakers.